Hey everybody, Tori Hartman here, and as you know, I haven't talked to you in a while, and I'm actually sitting in my dining room in Asheville, North Carolina, and one of the things I wanted to do was start off this video series, all the videos I'm going to be shooting, with one of the biggest questions I get, which is, what's the difference between the toolkit and the card deck? And so what I'm going to do in this video is explain to you the difference and then try to come up with at least one good tip to give you about reading and the differences between the two. And let's start with what came first. So what actually came first were the fables when I had my near-death experience. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I talk about that extensively. So one of the things, hair in my eye or something, okay, good, it's gone. One of the things that I want to say to you is that when I went to Watkins and we published the card deck, and this is what the card deck looks like. For those of you that have the deck, it comes in a little box like this, and the book, the actual book, is just a little booklet. It's so funny, somebody wrote in to me and said, I can't get the book in the box. And I thought, are you talking about this book? No, you can't, it doesn't fit. So what happened was we went and published the card deck. And of course, as you can tell, my cards are always backwards and upside down and everything else. So what happened was once we did the card deck, there was when you go to a publisher to have your deck done, what happens is it has to fit into a program they're working with. So my deck had to fit into this book. In other words, this was the amount of words, this is what I had to work with. So what we actually did was, when I had my near-death experience, the fables actually came to me, the angels came to me and told me the full fables. We couldn't put them in a card deck to make it streamlined. So what we actually did was, I came up with the concept of creating the legend. So the fable itself has been, which is a large fable, has been really just reduced to an inch. I mean, like in a book, right? So what you're getting here in this book is you're getting a very, I would say, focused and centralized idea of how to read the cards. So the idea in this book is that you'll get a chakra overview, and you're also going to get, each of the cards has a particular color around it so that you know what chakra you're talking about. Now it's really funny because somebody wrote in and said, there's no gray chakra, there's no silver chakra. Well, what I did in the 6th and the 7th chakra was, although the 6th chakra is indigo, I put all the purple cards in that area because it made sense, because all of those, the indigo, the third eye, 6th chakra, 6th sense, were all family issues. And it was also, I noticed that all the purple fables, violet, all of those colors related to family of origin issues, and are related in some ways to multi-generational healing. So you will find one of the spreads for that in this book. Also, what I did at the beginning of each chapter, so the 6th chakra, which is typically indigo, encompasses all of the indigo energy and all of the purple cards. The 7th chakra is neutral. And the reason for that, it's interesting because I was talking to my friend Colette Barron-Reed, who is also a fabulous, amazing intuitive, and we were talking about how spirit is always neutral. And she said, oh my gosh, I love that you did that. I love that you did neutral for the 7th chakra. Because even though the 7th chakra is the white light, it's the violet, it's outside of our body, it actually is neutral. And so all of the fables you're going to find in the 7th chakra are actually neutral fables. So when you look at Bahana Beige, which is the fable of impartiality, you're going to look at the fact that she is neutral. And there's no judgment in any of those 7th chakra cards because they're all universal concepts and universal themes. So when you look at, and I'm going to use the card of rejection, for example, I actually think this is one of the best cards in the deck because it's, a lot of people will look at the word and think, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's rejection. No, because it's the concept, and I'm sure you've heard this cliche of rejection is God's protection. And the idea is that sometimes we have to reject things that aren't who we really are. So this is about being your authentic self and really stepping into who you're supposed to be and rejecting things that don't work for you. So keep in mind that what you think the meaning is isn't necessarily what it is. Now, I'm going to talk about the cards more in another video, but what I want to do is just give you an idea that when you look at the deck, what you're looking at is, for those of us who are cardaholics, what you're really looking at is the deck itself. When you look at the toolkit, and this is a kind of an interesting story, it is completely different. Now, the reason I'm saying it's different is because you can have the toolkit alone, or you can have the cards alone. They work separately. However, one of the things that I think when I was working with the Fables, it was very interesting because I trained a lot of people early on in my self-published version. And this one gal talked to Joe, who's my publisher, at Watkins, and Joe said, well, how did you learn to read the cards? And Becky said, well, that's easy. I just studied the original Fables. And they went, we didn't do the original Fables. So what you're going to find in this particular book is you're going to find the full original fable. And what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about how the toolkit works, how the cards work, and how they're separate. So you get the idea. If you're a card person, you're going to really dig the cards because they're colorful and you can see what chakra you're working with. Now that's another layer to it. And however, in the toolkit, just to give you an idea, you're going to find there's something for 5 days of the week. You don't have to do it that way. I mean, one woman wrote in and said, 52 weeks, really? And another woman said, I did every week and it changed my life. So it's really a question of what you're called to do. Now, I'm one of those people that likes to randomly flip around. So I can flip open a page and go, ooh, I want to look at this. So what I actually came to was the self-worth card. Now, I want to say this to you. When I originally did the card deck, when I self-published it, I actually, on the card, the original deck, I had the name of the fable. When we went to publish them, and because it's now in other languages, we really didn't want to use the name of the fable because people wouldn't understand it. So we took the name of the card, the key word actually is what we called it, the actual key word, and we put it on the card. So that's why in this deck, you're going to find, I know I'll talk about reversals in another video, but you're going to find that the fables themselves will not be on the card, it's the key word. So be aware that the real energy of the card goes deeper than perseverance. It's actually the carrot-colored cloak, which is the fable. And that's something I want to say. So basically in the book, you're going to notice what the week's focus is. You're also going to get a message of the week. And I've got to tell you, if you want to go deeper with the cards, study the fable. Because the fable will give you the nuances. And one thing I want to tell you that's very important, this is kind of a little tip. When you're looking at these cards, and you see on the picture, for example, you see different characters here. You'll see the little boy and you'll see Rhonda Rhino. In this case, this is the forgiveness card. One of the things you want to do is you won't get all of the characters that are in the fable in this book with the card. You're going to get the basic overview of the card. But when you read the fable, you'll read about other characters in the actual story. Now, the reason other characters are important is because that starts to get deeper and give you other layers of the card. So, what I'm trying to say is there are several characters in the Rhonda Rhino fable, which is the card of forgiveness, that when you read it, you're going to be able to say, I wonder which character I'm playing in my life right now. So the character that's actually depicted in the toolkit will not be in here. So for example, when I say that the Fable of Violet Iris has different characters in it that are kind of abbreviated here. So all the fables have different characters, and that's one way of saying which character is your client or are you playing at a particular moment. To give you an example of that, I would probably look at, Chartreuse, okay? Which is, Charmaine Chartreuse, which is gossip. There are many characters in Charmaine. Which character are you? And that's very important to look at, because then you'll know how the fable is interacting or impacting your reading. The deeper you can go, the better. And basically, I'll wrap up by saying on the toolkit, you've got the color on Tuesday. You're going to find your inspiration on Wednesday. It's a journal journey exercise. And making a connection on Thursday is about the group dynamic. And I'm going to start talking about the group dynamic in another video about the toolkit, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I think they both are standalone, very different. I would recommend that if you're interested in the cards, study the toolkit, because that's going to really start to give you a whole nother layer to your readings. And I'll see you next time.